What's up, fellow tycoon? It's Marquita, aka your brand building bestie, aka the Saucy Tycoon, and I'm here to help you find your vibe. So we're gonna get straight into today's video. We're gonna be talking about how to find your target audience. So one of the important things when you start your brand, you gotta know who your people are, who you're trying to reach, who you are helping to solve a problem. That's one of the key things that is gonna be very elemental to you being able to make sales and being able to build your communities by understanding who your people are and what not. Tongue twister. All right, so we're gonna get this on the board here. What is a target audience? I gotta do better with this, with these markers, but we'll get there. Feeling pretty good today. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video. So jumping right back in for you guys. I might do 2 videos today, but we'll see. All right, so we're gonna talk about what is a target audience. So your target audience is basically gonna be a subset of people within the population. So, you know, we have the general public, and then you're gonna target, or you're gonna be looking for very specific people. So you're gonna do that based off of certain interest. So we're gonna say subset of general public. And that's gonna include things like demographics, interests. Let's see. So as far as like your demographics, that's gonna be things like, you know, age, location, maybe income bracket, single, married, you get the point. So those types of things, right? And then interests, of course, that's gonna be like hobbies, let's see, education, entertainment. Basically, you want to look for things that are going to be relevant to the product or service that you're providing. So for example, Saucy Tycoon, here at Saucy Tycoon, we do educational products. So Saucy Tycoon is about education of brand marketing. And Web3. So when it comes to a target audience, we're gonna be looking for entrepreneurs, of course, but furthermore, there might be a specific age range. So for here, I'm probably looking around the 30 to 45, maybe older than that. Location, we global, baby. So income bracket or single, married, you know, and I would just basically take some different demographics and kind of get a bit more specific. That part kind of takes trial and error, because you might start out just kind of generally targeting everyone, but once you kind of get in your flow and understand who you vibe better with and who you kind of tend to attract, you can start to kind of scale down and get like a specific type of persona, so to speak. So, and then like interests and hobbies might be people who are like spiritual. Maybe they like to read books, self-help, and maybe they're into like education, things of that nature. So you kind of would just try to jot down like a rough draft of like different types of hobbies and interests. A lot of times when it comes to this type of stuff, I do tend to kind of go within and look at my life and the things that I'm into and what I do. And a lot of times, generally, that'll help lead me to figuring out, okay, what type of people would be interested in the information that I have here. So basically, you can take this and apply it to whatever industry or whatever product or service that you provide. So you can kind of like do a similar thing here. But that's just kind of an example of how you can start carving out your target audience. And some of these were just like broad categories, so you would go within those categories, like how I had this person that likes to read. Okay, what kind of books might they be liking to read, you know? So you kind of just go more specific. You start general and then you break it down and go more specific. All right. And so once you kind of, well, since we have now discussed what an actual target audience is, we can start getting more specific about how you can actually understand how to further carve out your target audience. So, you know, basically going from that general consensus there to, okay, now that we understand what a target audience is, how can I get better at understanding who my target audience is? And so if you have watched any of my other videos, I talk about all the time, you know, how important voice, vision, and mission is when it comes to building your brand. So your voice, vision, and mission, we'll just go over these really quick before we get into it. So you gotta make sure you have your voice, vision, and mission, because that's gonna give you clarity and understanding, of course, what your product or service is, what your brand is about. You gotta have your clarity, or you'll just be all over the place. So your voice, this is how your brand shows up. Via social media channels, how are you speaking to your audience? How you speak to your audience. Yep. Your vision. This is basically your projected forecast. We'll say your projected brand forecast. Or just to simply put it, your bigger picture. All right? Then you have your mission. This is your ultimate goal. Your how you serve. Or your promise. All right? And if you want to understand more about how to come up with these things, make sure you visit my website and download for free my Intro to Brand Building ebook. It's going to start with the basics, and it's going to go over how to come up with your voice, vision, and mission to get clarity on your brand, okay? I'm not gonna go into depth in it on this video because I have plenty other videos that talk about this, but just for the sake of, before moving into the next thing in this video, I just wanted to briefly have this up there, all right? I need some space. Let me just get rid of that real quick. All right, so this is the first step with finding your target audience. And then your second step, look at my notes here, make sure I go in order. All right, you gotta know your product, service. You gotta understand what you're providing. And the better you understand this, the better you'll be able to communicate your message. So we'll move on to talking about your message. So once you know your product and service, you understand who it's for, then you want to begin to craft a message. What is the overall message that is going to, or how are you going to craft a message that conveys what it is that you offer? It's also, let's say we'll call that a marketing message. It's also known as, let's say, AKA your unique selling, or USP, unique selling point. All right, so knowing your product or service and crafting your marketing message, AKA your unique selling point. Forgot to put that there. All right. So how do you come up with a marketing message? So coming up with a marketing message is basically understanding a problem you solve or a benefit that you provide, and you want to turn that into a unique marketing message. So at Saucy Tycoon, you guys notice in pretty much every opening of my video, I always, well, not every, I don't think I did this video actually, but find your vibe. I usually say that in most of my videos. So that is my marketing message. Help you find your vibe in brand marketing and Web3. Okay. So very concise, simple, and to the point. How you want it to be. You want your marketing message to be pretty simple, because it's going to be something that's going to be repetitive, but the goal with the marketing message is to speak to a problem or speak to a benefit that your product or service provides, and make sure you're constantly repeating that. Once you get it to where you want it to be, where it's clear, concise, to the point, and conveys your message, you are going to use that and repeat it, repetition, okay? Let's see. Oh, this is a good key one right here. So another, well, actually, let me write this on the board for you guys. All right. So, all right, how to craft your marketing message. All right. Crafting your marketing message speaks to problem your brand solves or benefit it provides. All right. And then let me see how I'm gonna word this. Okay, we'll say crafting conversations. All All right, so when it comes to crafting conversations, this basically speaks to, okay, what type of conversations take place around the problem that you're solving or the benefit that you are providing. Let's see. So as an example, at Saucy Tycoon, since we're dealing with entrepreneurship, we're dealing with brand marketing, we're dealing with building a brand, you know, a question or a conversation might be, okay, how do I start a brand, or how do I create a brand? So let me see, how do I create a brand? So this would be an example of a conversation that I can use to help craft a specific marketing message, or use this conversation to target a very specific group of people. And you can like do this multiple times in multiple ways depending on the product or service. But for the sake of keeping it simple for this conversation, we're just gonna deal with one message, an example of one message. So how do I create a brand? So speaking to a problem, which is basically the problem is, hey, I don't know, or I would like to know more about creating a brand. So again, with my marketing message, what's up? My name is Marquita, your brand building bestie, aka the Saucy Tycoon, helping you find your vibe in brand marketing and Web3 technologies. So something to that nature, to the effect. I'll actually clean that up a little bit better to be more direct about creating a brand. But that's just like a simple example of how you can come up with a marketing message. So take this information and apply it to your industry, your product, your service. And of course, if you have more questions or need help with that, you can always leave that down in the comments and I'll be happy to help you out with that. Right, so I'm gonna have to erase this. I need more room. All right, so moving on, we'll do one more step here. We'll make this a pretty simple, not too lengthy video. So I know my videos tend to be long. I'm gonna try to do some shorter videos these next couple of weeks, but with the value that I'm providing, I really don't like to try to limit it to like a 15-minute video or a 10-minute video. Like, if you can't sit here for the information, then it's just not gonna be for you. Like, the reason that I basically do these videos, like I'm literally teaching a class when I do these videos. So expect to at least be looking at a 20-minute plus video, just because a lot of information out there on the internet just wants to give you the good sound bites and stuff that sounds good, but I choose and I like to go a little bit more in depth and not just, you know, give you the sound bites, the stuff that sounds good. I want people to have an overall understanding of like the information. So that's why my videos are as long as they are. But anyway, oh, excuse me. All right, so step 3, which I call search and destroy. But we're not really destroying anything, you know, in terms of being destructive, but you know, you want to definitely search and destroy. Well, let's change that to like search and recruit. That sounds nicer. Search and recruit. You know, we're going to really hone in on who our target audience is. So another component is creating your ideal customer. So this is kind of where you make all right, you guys, we're back. My fault, my battery died, and unfortunately with these DSLR cameras, you don't get a warning when the battery's about to die, so that sucks. But fortunately, I caught it before I just went too far. All right, so I'm gonna pick back up where I left off. Bear with me. All right, so search and recruit. So you're creating your ideal customer using demographics, different aspects from demographics and interests. You want to come up with, or you'll craft rather, who your ideal customer is. You might make like a list. Basically, you're going to use this information here, demographics and interests, to come up with a list to create your ideal customer, the type of people that you would start to target, keeping in mind and using that to craft like your marketing messages, your content, your offers, and things of that nature. So once you have your ideal customer, you will use a specially crafted, excuse me. Actually, let me get my grammar in check. You'll use specially crafted messaging and content to target that ideal customer or to target that audience. So this is just a rough, broad breakdown of how to find your target audience. So this is not super in depth, like especially here where we're talking about building your ideal customer, the demographics, interests. There's also another category such as psychographics, and that's dealing with like the habits, how they may think, and things of that nature. But once again, if you want to go more in depth and you need a little bit more help, you kind of want to get a little bit more guidance on finding your target audience and how to craft your ideal customer so you can understand the types of people that you need to target for your product, brand, service. Once again, go to my website, saucytycoon.com, and download the Intro to Brand Building ebook. It's free. Go download it. It's going to help you. All right. All right. And then you also will need to search. That means just doing your research and finding out where your ideal customers hang out. Where are they? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Facebook? Maybe they're at the library. Maybe they're at the flea market. Get creative, figure out where they are, okay? Social media in real life. But nowadays, of course, social media is pretty much king when it comes to doing marketing. But I will make a video about guerrilla marketing and different marketing things. So stay tuned. All right. So once you figure out where your ideal customer hangs out, whether it's social media, in real life, or a combination of these things, then that's where you want to start engaging and giving value. And this is the part I think a lot of people kind of just I won't say, I guess not necessarily half-ass, but this is the part where it pays to be authentic in the way that you engage and give value. So this would be step 4. After completing steps 1 through 3, engage and provide value. Authentically. See, this is the part where a lot of people just try to sell. Once you figure out, okay, who you're gonna sell to, you go and you just start selling. If you want to, and for some situations that does work. Some situations that's all it is. It's very transactional. But we're building brands over here. So when we're building brands, we want to stick around. We want to make a name. We want to have longevity. So it is a little bit more of involves, and it's more of a long game. So you want to engage authentically and you want to give value. When you are communicating with your audience, you don't want to just start off by shoving offers down their throat. You want to authentically engage by giving value of some sort. Give first, sell second. Give first, sell second. A lot of people just get so money that's not really the word, but you get so anxious and just ready to sell, and just so ready to sell somebody something that you only end up having that customer as a one-time customer because you're just so worried about selling them something. When you take the time to engage and give value to people, that means something. That leaves a mark with them, and they're more likely to engage back, to come back and be a repeat customer. The key thing is to create and establish some type of relationship. And this is something that a lot of people don't do just because it takes time. You know, it don't have to take a whole lot of time, but it just takes a little extra time. You know, it's not just like a one and done, like here, buy my thing and okay, now we got to go find new customers. The thing is, you want to establish a relationship. You want to establish credibility and authority within your brand. That comes through being authentic and I didn't want to say that way. That comes through through engaging authentically and providing value. Okay, keyword, authentic. Okay, we got to definitely get back to that, because I see like a lot of brands or businesses that just all they worried about is selling somebody something, and then they wonder why they don't got no customers, or they're having to constantly find customers. Hey, we're gonna talk about that too though, how to keep the customers, because it's easier to sell to the same people instead of always having to go and find new people. Anyway, let me not get off on a tangent. All right, so after steps 1 through 3, you want to engage and provide value authentically. All right, so this is what I love about brand building, because you can get creative with your content. And I'll go ahead and add another gem here, because I'm actually about to go ahead and wrap this video up. But content is key. So you want to think about the content that best represents and will be great at connecting with your audience. So like earlier, how we were talking about like different interests that an ideal customer of yours could have. If they're into reading, you know, maybe you might do the blog thing or some type of long form written content where you have a website and you're doing like articles. You would put out articles that are relevant to your product or service and speak to your ideal customer's problem or the benefit that you would be providing to said ideal customer. Okay, so explore the ways that you can start the relevant conversations. Okay. And just some quick examples. I just said one, which was blog. You could do videos, like I'm doing a video. Video is a big one. Not everybody's a video person. I wasn't always a video person. I'm still not for real a video person, but I'm just kind of used to being in front of the camera now that no way to go but up from here. And then you got, let me see. These are the two main ones. And then you have like long form or short form. Video and written content. You know, documentaries. Short films, you know. You got like your reels, stories, and these are just more forms of like video, but really sky's the limit. You can get creative, you can figure out, oh, I just thought of some other stuff. All right, so you also got like stuff like ebooks, and then you have, you know, helpful stuff like planners, you know, digital products that you can use as well. And again, something else that I'm gonna have to make a video on one day, but content is going to be a great way that I would recommend that you start to give value and engage with your audience. People love to be helped. They like getting answers to their questions, and it doesn't necessarily have to always come in the form of selling them something, selling them the solution. You just start the conversation, and that leads to them purchasing your product or service, or joining your community, or whatever it is that you have to offer. So that's gonna complete today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know I could get a bit long-winded sometimes because I just be talking, but I know that this shit I'm talking about is helpful. So take notes, leave your questions in the comments, leave suggestions for any other videos that y'all would like me to make. And once again, it's Marquita, your brand building bestie, aka the Saucy Tycoon, helping you find your vibe. Signing out. Peace.